The bright studio lights of Good Morning America glimmered across the glossy floor as cameras rolled and the audience leaned forward in anticipation. It wasn't just another celebrity interview. Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, had agreed to appear live on the show, her first time since stepping away from royal duties with Prince Harry. Producers had hyped the appearance for weeks. Viewers expected revelations about Meghan's new projects, charitable ventures, and perhaps hints about her family life in California. But what no one foresaw was how quickly the conversation would escalate into one of the most talked about live TV clashes in recent memory. The calm before the storm. At first, everything seemed cordial. Meghan arrived in a tailored cream blazer and silk blouse, radiating calm confidence. She smiled warmly at co-host Robin Roberts, who introduced her with grace. "Today, we're honored to have Meghan Markle with us," Robin said. Actress, philanthropist, advocate for women's rights, and of course, Duchess of Sussex. "Meghan, thank you for being here." "Thank you so much for having me," Meghan replied, her voice steady yet filled with that subtle Hollywood polish. The first few minutes were pleasant. Meghan spoke about her new children's book, her work with mental health organizations, and her belief in using one's platform for positive change. But as the segment shifted, the tone changed. Sitting just across from Meghan was Lara Spencer, known for her sharp wit and sometimes blunt questioning style. Lara had done her homework, and wasn't about to let Meghan glide through unchallenged. The first tension. "Meghan," Lara began, her smile tight, "you've often talked about wanting privacy, about stepping away from the constant media glare. Yet here you are, on one of the biggest morning shows in America, releasing books, signing deals, producing documentaries. How do you respond to critics who say you can't have it both ways?" The audience stirred. Meghan's smile faltered, just slightly. "I think it's a misconception," Meghan replied carefully. "Privacy doesn't mean silence. It doesn't mean invisibility. It means boundaries. Harry and I stepped back because the environment we were in was toxic. But we still believe in engaging with the world, on our own terms." Robin nodded approvingly, but Lara pressed harder. "Yet some argue that every time you share your story, every time you do an interview or release a project, you're feeding the very media machine you claim to escape from. Isn't there a contradiction?" A brief pause hung in the air. Meghan leaned forward, her tone sharpening. "There's no contradiction in telling your own story," she said firmly. "The contradiction lies in being silenced while others profit off of your narrative. By speaking for myself, I reclaim my voice. I hope that makes sense." Applause trickled from the audience, but Lara's expression didn't soften. Instead, she arched an eyebrow, as though preparing her next strike. The clash escalates. The segment was supposed to highlight Meghan's book, but Lara redirected again. "Some people feel," Lara said, "that since marrying into the royal family, you've positioned yourself as both a victim and a global influencer. Isn't that a convenient balance? You've stepped away from duty but still leverage the title, Duchess. How do you justify that?" Robin glanced nervously toward the producers. The control room buzzed with whispers. This wasn't in the pre-approved script. Meghan's posture stiffened. For a moment, she simply looked at Lara, her lips pressed into a thin line. "I find it interesting," Meghan said slowly, "that a woman asserting her right to choose her own path is so quickly labeled as contradictory. Men do it all the time. They reinvent themselves, they redefine their roles, and they're celebrated for it. Why is it different when I do it?" The audience clapped again, louder this time. But Lara wasn't done. "It's different," Lara countered, "because you're not just anyone. You married into a 1,200-year-old institution. People feel you turned your back on it while still benefiting from its prestige. Isn't that fair criticism?" The breaking point. Meghan inhaled sharply, then exhaled with visible restraint. Her voice carried a controlled edge. "What's fair," she said, "is acknowledging that I am also a human being. I endured relentless attacks, racism, misogyny, invasive coverage that endangered my mental health. And yet, I'm expected to smile, nod, and stay silent because of a title. No, that's not who I am. That's not who any woman should be expected to be." The room fell into a hush. Robin interjected softly, trying to diffuse the tension. "Perhaps we should take a moment to talk about your upcoming charity." But Lara interrupted. "With respect, Meghan, isn't this also about accountability? Many feel you and Harry wanted the perks without the responsibility. Don't the British people, who funded your lifestyle for years, deserve answers?" That was it. Meghan's composure cracked. She leaned back, crossed her arms, and gave a look that was equal parts disbelief and exhaustion. You know what, Lara? She said, her tone icy. It's fascinating that every choice I make is dissected under the harshest light, while others are given endless excuses. I came here to talk about empowerment and the work I'm doing, not to defend my existence. Robin tried again. Let's bring this back to. But Meghan was already unhooking her microphone. The audience gasped audibly. I don't need to justify myself to you, or to anyone who refuses to see the bigger picture, Meghan said. She stood, smoothing her blazer. If this is the kind of conversation you want, then I think we're done here. And with that, Meghan Markle walked off the Good Morning America set, live, on air. The cameras scrambled to cut to commercial. Robin buried her face in her hands. Lara sat frozen, staring after Meghan with a mixture of triumph and unease. But the world had already seen it. Within minutes, clips of the exchange flooded Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Some praised Meghan for standing up for herself, others accused her of being thin-skinned. The debate had begun, and it was about to get even bigger. When Good Morning America returned from commercial break, Robin Roberts attempted to salvage the broadcast with professionalism. She smiled stiffly, shuffled her cue cards, and turned back to the camera. We'll take a short break from the interview and continue with today's headlines, she said. But the damage was done. Viewers had already witnessed Meghan Markle's stormy exit. Across America, and the world, people rushed to their phones, tweeting, recording clips, and arguing furiously in comment sections. Meghan just walked off GMA. One Twitter user posted, along with a shaky video recorded off their TV. Good for her. Lara was being straight up hostile. Another countered. Typical Meghan. Runs away the second she's asked tough questions. Guess royalty didn't prepare her for accountability. By 9:30 a.m., hashtags like hashtag Meghan walks off, hashtag Team Meghan, and hashtag Lara Spencer were trending globally. The network in panic. Backstage, chaos erupted. Producers whispered urgently into earpieces. The show's executive producer pulled Lara aside. What was that? He demanded. That wasn't the agreed angle. Lara, unfazed, replied coolly, I ask the questions people actually want answered. Isn't that our job? But Robin Roberts, visibly shaken, interjected. There's a difference between tough journalism and pushing someone until they snap. We had an agreement to focus on her work. The control room split down the middle, half siding with Lara's hard-nosed approach, half blaming her for sabotaging what could have been a historic, uplifting interview. Social media firestorm. By noon, clips had racked up millions of views. Pundits were invited onto talk shows to analyze what had gone wrong. On Twitter Spaces, activists praised Meghan. She's been gaslit for years, one woman argued. The second she sets boundaries, she's called dramatic. Lara didn't ask questions, she threw accusations. But conservative commentators painted a different picture. Meghan Markle wants fame without scrutiny, one said on a radio show. She can't expect to cash Netflix checks and avoid accountability. Lara was doing her job. Even late-night comedians jumped in. By evening, monologues included jokes like, Meghan Markle walked off Good Morning America. Don't worry, she'll do an exclusive Netflix documentary about the experience. Buckingham Palace responds. Across the Atlantic, the British tabloids had a field day. Daily Mail, The Sun, and The Telegraph all ran banner headlines by evening. Meghan storms off US TV show after hostile exchange. Duchess under fire again. Walks out on questions about duty. Royal drama plays out live on American television. Inside Buckingham Palace, courtiers reportedly watched the clip with mixed reactions. An unnamed royal source was quoted saying, "This is precisely why Her Majesty was cautious about the Sussexes' media ventures. They claim to want privacy, but they thrive on confrontation." However, Prince Harry was said to be furious. According to friends, he told Meghan privately, "You don't deserve this. They'll never let you speak your truth without twisting it." Lara Spencer's defense. That evening, Lara Spencer addressed the controversy in a statement released through ABC. As a journalist, my role is to ask the difficult questions, she wrote. I have great respect for Meghan Markle and the causes she champions. My questions were not meant to offend but to reflect concerns raised by viewers. I regret if my tone came across as hostile, but accountability and honesty are at the heart of our profession. The response was met with mixed reviews. Some applauded her professionalism, others saw it as a thinly veiled refusal to take responsibility. Meghan speaks out. Hours later, Meghan broke her silence. She posted a message on her foundation's Instagram account, accompanied by a black and white photo of herself standing under California sunlight. "Today reminded me why it is so important to control our own stories," she wrote. "For too long, women, especially women of color, have been expected to tolerate hostility with a smile. I will never apologize for walking away from a conversation that diminishes who I am or the work I am trying to do. My energy belongs to building, not defending." Her words struck a chord. Celebrities including Serena Williams, Priyanka Chopra, and Gabrielle Union quickly commented in support. Serena wrote, "Proud of you, sis. Always stand tall." Meanwhile, critics doubled down. One commentator tweeted, translation, "She didn't like the questions." The cultural divide. The incident sparked broader debate. Morning shows, podcasts, and even university panels began discussing themes of race, gender, and media ethics. Was Lara holding Meghan accountable, or was she perpetuating the same media aggression Meghan fled from in the UK? Should public figures be forced to endure hostile questions because of their fame? Did Meghan's walk-off empower women, or reinforce her critics' claims that she can't handle pressure? The country seemed divided down the middle. Behind closed doors. In Montecito, Meghan and Harry strategized late into the night with their advisors. One suggestion was to appear on another platform, perhaps Oprah again, or even a carefully curated podcast, to reclaim the narrative. "Every time I try to speak," Meghan said, exhausted, "they twist it. They want me to either be silent or apologetic. And when I refuse, I'm painted as the villain." Harry squeezed her hand. "Then we make sure your story isn't filtered. We tell it ourselves, unapologetically." A new turning point. By the week's end, ABC confirmed Meghan would not be returning for a follow-up segment. Lara Spencer avoided further comment, retreating from social media for several days. Robin Roberts, however, publicly expressed regret. "I wish the interview had stayed focused on Meghan's work," she said in an appearance on another program. "I have deep respect for her, and I hope she knows that. But the damage, and the impact, was already irreversible." Meghan's walk-off had become more than a celebrity squabble. It was a cultural flashpoint, a reminder of how narratives around women, race, and power collide in real time, on live television. Closing reflection. Meghan's decision to walk off GMA did not silence her. Instead, it amplified her voice, even as it divided opinion. Supporters hailed her courage, critics mocked her fragility. Lara Spencer's reputation as a tough interviewer was both bolstered and criticized. But one thing was clear. The clash between Meghan Markle and Lara Spencer was not just a TV moment. It was a mirror, reflecting society's endless arguments about privilege, accountability, and who gets to control their story. And for Meghan, walking off wasn't the end. It was the beginning of yet another chapter in her relentless, complicated journey at the center of global attention.